Welcome to the Creative Plan Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Ravensdale Publishing presents Villains and Henchmen.
Hello, Ravensdale Publishing fans new and old.
Ben and Sarah here, and we're excited to welcome you to the Villains and Henchmen Kickstarter campaign.
Have you ever wanted to be a villain? Do you dream of harnessing the power of a storm? Or flexing superpowered muscles? Or bending reality to your whim? These powers and more are within your grasp in Villains and Henchmen.
In this cooperative game for 1 to 4 players, you must break a fellow villain out of maximum security prison. Along the way, you'll defeat meddling heroes, overcome troublesome obstacles, and plow through unsuspecting guards.
Of course, the good guys aren't just going to sit around while you waltz in and grab your villainous buddy. Over a dozen different event cards spur heroic responses and maintain the pulse-pounding action. No matter which prison you're attacking, or which heroes are in your way, scheming to have the right powers for the job is a must.
You may have to shapeshift into a stronger form, phase through a steel door, or protect the team with a well-timed force field. There is no single path to success. Adaptability and teamwork are critical to victory.
But remember, you are playing bad guys. If the prison is defeated, one of you will claim bragging rights as a true villain, relegating the others to mere henchmen.
For only $40, you can swipe a copy of this game, plus all 3 stretch goals unlocked during the campaign. We also have some cool expansions and paid add-ons, as well as art and other collectibles that you can only get through this Kickstarter campaign.
We can't wait to get Villains and Henchmen into your hands and hear all about your dastardly schemes.
Whether you've been following us for years or only just found us, thank you so much for your support.
Hey guys, Jim here from Creative Plan Podcast Network.
Hey! Yay!
Welcome back to #RPGaDay2018. It is the 5th year this August. We're again asking tabletop role players everywhere to tweet, blog, YouTube, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook. #RPGaDay answers to celebrate our cool, memorable, and amazing things about our hobby. We are on August the 4th.
Saturday.
Yes, Saturday.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Which means there's going to be a Star Wars one-shot happening for another pair of new players that wanted to learn the game because it's become viral that everyone wants to learn Edge of Empire.
Hey, I'm sorry, I have to go on record as saying Star Wars is one of the easiest ones to learn to play RPG because everyone knows the basic background, and their starter kits are fantastic in my opinion. The way they set up their pre-gens, and show the graduation between levels.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
And for the new GMs and new players, they do a great progressive job. And no, this episode is not brought to you by Fantasy Flight Games, who make Edge of Empire, Age of Rebellion, and Force and Destiny. Yet I do own every product they've made for that game.
They should sponsor you.
Really? Because you're the one that does all the... New player wants to learn, Jim. The game store's like, can you do another game?
Because narrative dice are awesome. It's not just success and failure. It's success and failure, threat and advantage, triumph, and despair.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we are at August the 4th. What is the most memorable NPC that you've dealt with? It just says most memorable NPC, but we're going to say that you've interacted with. So it could either be as a GM or as a player, you know. I think I know what Kellie's going to say, but that's just because I've got some jerk NPCs in her history.
Yes.
So
I'm Kellie, and I am the wife of Jim, and...
What?
No,
Lies.
I am.
Lies.
And when I first started dating my husband, so I wooed him via RPGs.
Solid.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you paper game. oh, I haven't played a game in a very long time. I would really like to do this.
For the record, this was when Scion Hero came out as the first book. And I was extremely excited about this book, and I expressed to my entire team at work how amazing this book is. And only one person was receptive to even listen, but the rest were so nice.
No,
just let me
you're
go
actually thinking of the wrong character.
Oh no, I'm knowing which it's the D&D character you're thinking about.
Okay, so yes,
that's who I know you're thinking about. But
yeah.
I'm just giving context to the gaming at work thing.
Okay, yeah. So, Ranger was always my favorite class.
By the way, this was in the era of 3.5.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And so I had created my Ranger, half-elf.
Rogue, wasn't she?
No,
that's
no,
right.
no.
She was Ranger.
This NPC inspired her to take a level of Rogue. And my Ranger, Kelwin, right?
Kelwin.
Yeah, Kelwin.
Yeah. With the Company of Valor.
Yeah, the Company of Valor. She met a bard.
A very roguish bard.
A very roguish bard.
Very vigilante-ish bard.
His name was Memdalwin.
Based on my EverQuest bard.
Okay.
Of the same name.
And this rogue was, he was a very, very, very charming rogue. Because, of course, this cute guy was also playing him, who
That's
I
helpful.
was, interested
Down was a
in.
jerk.
And he was that really charming jerk.
Rapscallion.
Yeah, he was. He epitomized a rapscallion.
His notes on the character sheet were NPC rapscallion.
Yes. And so when my character and his character met, he literally went out of his way to, making my life difficult, but in a very charming way.
It didn't hurt that she rolled a bunch of ones. Every time she tried to hit him, she rolled a one.
Exactly. But the funny thing was that every time I would do it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to hit him. It's like, and Jim would laugh and go, you're going to roll a one. And then I would roll a one.
Oh.
It was very frustrating. And at one point, the character was being obnoxious in his charming, roguish, rakish way.
He was just punched by Duncan's fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course,
because he insulted me.
Yes.
Oh, Duncan. I loved Duncan right there. I was like,
Duncan.
oh my God, that's awesome. He defended my honor. And without even being asked, it was great.
Duncan is
without
amazing.
flinching, he just punches him in the face. But then,
Amazing.
shortly after, we're trying to get into this dungeon, so to speak. And I find secret door, or he finds a secret door, because of course, we needed a rogue.
The group botched the search 5
Yeah.
times, so I had to throw him a freaking bone.
Yeah.
God.
So, and now this secret door, and it's a staircase leading down, and of course the rogue.
Secret pirate cove.
Yes.
Okay, the bard starts in on me again in his charming, roguish,
He was
rakish
twisting
way.
the
But you know my husband.
I do.
And so my character, I'm like, I am gonna hit him. And Jim's like, haha, you're gonna roll a one. And sure enough, I rolled a one. So then, because I rolled a one,
On a
my
spiral
character
staircase.
proceeded to fall down the stairs
Fuck.
till I hit the bottom. And of
to
course,
the secret smuggler pirate cove.
yeah, basically alerting everyone here that, oh, hey, look, interlopers.
Don't mind me.
But then I did it again because he's making fun of me for his character
The
and
NPC.
himself laughing.
Purely, I was in character.
He
Purely
was.
in
He was
character.
purely in character. Air quotes. There's a lot of similarities between Memdalwin and my husband. I just have to say. So he's laughing his ass off because I went ass over,
Tea kettle.
So I try to hit him again, and he goes, I bet you roll a one again.
This is why I get yelled at when I throw those.
And that's why
phrases
he's
out.
never allowed to touch my dice.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, I rolled another one. Yeah, and I almost fell into a pit trap at that point. But that's why this character is just so memorable to me because it is the first NPC that I truly remember as like a strong image in my head. Because even when I played as a kid, there was never that NPC that was just really, it was all characters that were, the different players that had their moments and were the intriguing ones. This was the first time I'd been with a GM who made an NPC just like come to life.
You got to have those good NPCs.
And now, oh my God, I've run into so many, but Mem Darwin was the first.
And you married him.
Yeah, I did. What the hell was I thinking?
No, girl. You seem to have had fun, though.
Yeah, well, I'd do it again, so, yeah.
Yeah, I watched that. You'll roll a 1.
No, a 1-0, because 10-year anniversary!
So, I've been thinking about... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. This is Jocelynne. Hey!
Hey, Jocelynne.
I can't speak English.
Words.
I've had a lot of rum. I play Madame Askew at a lot of conventions around the United States and Canada. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Madame Askew, and on my Patreon as well at Madame Askew. And I'm a costumer, a performer, and an avid RPG gamer. I've been playing with you guys for 5 years now?
Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so once I commit to an RPG group, it really has to dissolve before I leave them.
And even then, you can come back when, every now and then.
I know. I'm always
cons.
trying to get, Conrad Con to happen again.
I know. I'm trying to get McNeil Con to happen, too.
Or that would be fine, although, I think McNeil Con is really Conrad Con. Which is, This is McNeil Conrad Con. Anyway.
There you go.
So,
McRad.
It's McRad Con. Oh, that's actually really
like
good. So, I've been thinking about this question, and I've certainly met some fascinating NPCs over my years of gaming, but I'm sort of like, whose name do I actually remember? If I don't remember their name, how memorable was that NPC? And I guess we're talking about tabletop, so I can't say Iron Bull. But he's pretty fucking memorable. With the horns. So, I'm going to go back to Unhallowed Metropolis. Apparently, that's my theme for this year's RPG-A-Day questions. But when I was running my Unhallowed Metropolis game a few years ago, I did take some inspiration from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I love that movie!
Right, and I was just using some of that inspiration as like a one-off to color a small scene as like an Easter egg for fun for my players. And I thought they'd laugh at it and they'd think it was, a cool moment and they'd all be like, oh, Big Trouble in Little China, that's fun. They latched onto it. And like it was a really massive plot point. And they would not let it go. And it was because of this NPC. They were just like, no, this is it. This is the plot. This is the pivotal moment. This is the big bad guy. And I'm like, no,
Case of mistaken identity.
Nope. He was just like a pawnbroker, but
He's a bit of fluff.
he had to become the major big bad at that point because my players were absolutely fixated on him. And so I based this NPC off of Lu Fang, the bad guy from Big Trouble in Little China. That's Lopan, sorry.
Two girls with green eyes.
Right. Lu Fang in the game,
Yeah.
Lopan in the movie. And so people were like, oh no, it's Lopan. And they would never call him by his in-game name.
It became a running gag.
They just called him Lopan for the rest of the game. And they were like, how are we going to get Lopan? We've got to take down Lopan. I was like, really? You're supposed to take down Queen Victoria? But okay. It's okay. All right. We've changed to take down Lopan. That's cool. That he was a great character to play because he's such a cool character in the movie. And so
Victor Wong was amazing.
Right. He's just brilliant.
As David Lopan.
So I accidentally created a situation where I got to play Lopan for weeks of this game as the big bad guy of the game. And it was really fun. I may have accidentally maimed one of my players because I was not expecting the challenge to be so hard. But Lopan just sort of like possessed me and things got complicated. So that was great fun.
Although I have to point out, like, you know how you wanted to just throw in this little Easter egg for this fantastic movie?
Never do that.
The original Scion, the original hero book, if anyone noticed, there's this one picture, and the truck sign says,
the
Pork Chop Express.
Yes!
And I'm like, oh my god, yes!
Yes!
So I have to ask, if he was a Scion, who would his parents be?
A Lopan?
No.
Jack Burton?
Yeah, Jack Burton.
Oh my god.
Well, see, you know what? I kind of see him as a bit of an acer.
Yeah.
Just because of the he's
straight towards danger.
No, definitely not Loki.
No.
Or I see him more as a Thor or Odin, or maybe
not
Tyr,
Thor, maybe Balder,
Mm-hmm.
but not Odin. Odin is too tricksy.
Odin
he's
is
trickster.
the second trickster in the pantheon after
Or,
Loki.
No, I say Odin is the first trickster.
Because he brought in Loki.
Loki is like trying to outdo Odin.
Okay, it could also be Vidar, because he's the only one who survives Ragnarok.
Vidar is the god of vengeance. That would work.
Yeah, but he's
I just want
like,
my truck.
But, I feel like he's got a very Thor, kind of energy. I was also looking at him as like maybe one of the Greek pantheon, scions.
Yeah.
Like very much an Apollo kind of. Not Apollo. Which pantheon is Apollo Roman or Greek?
Apollo. Well, it's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. Or not Hermes, but one of Hephaestus. But he's not like really.
He's not very
good with tools. But he's like more straightforward.
He is like he's like almost like a cross between Hermes and Ares.
Oh yes,
because he's not afraid to go to war.
Yeah,
Cop's got better things to do than get killed.
That's right.
But it's like, and
he's got those boots.
Mm-hmm. Those boots are fabulous.
Yeah, those boots are probably a gift from his, godly parents.
I would say Uller. Because all those games of chance.
Oh, yeah. He's good at the games of chance.
He's good at the games of chance. And he happens to keep finding a certain reporter even though he doesn't know Chinatown, he keeps finding her.
And he is hunting for his truck.
Yeah.
And the girl.
And he finds everything. Everything he's looking for, he finds and
But I definitely get an Acer vibe from him.
I think he's more of an Acer than anything.
Definitely, because the
expression.
Yeah, and he's just like... He's not...
Obviously, the other characters are celestial bureaucracy.
Yeah,
but just
clearly. Even the reporter.
Yeah.
Maybe especially the reporter.
So I'm going to go for most memorable NPC. It's one that will make Kellie's skin crawl.
Oh, Lucius.
Yeah, Lucius. Just because he's a great character, basically a scion of Loki, who's working for CERT. Because, of course, in Scion...
I call him Uxius.
Because her half-brother kissed her.
He totally put the moves on me. And the fact that he knew I was his half-sister. That's why it's Uki.
But you didn't steal the ring he was there for. You didn't know he was there for it.
I didn't know at the time. I had no clue.
Totally a Loki family circle thing.
Well, there's a lot of incest in the old myths.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Loki even took one for the team. On all four legs.
Yeah.
So many times. Oh, Loki.
Yeah.
So I would say Lucius, because the Scion group would immediately assume anyone there against them was working for Lucius or Lucius in disguise. Until the one time on that cruise when Lucius saved all your asses, when you got people killed. And he actually took the place.
I ain't got nobody killed. You're talking
He
about
took the place of the captain of this Norwegian Viking river cruise. They got the captain killed. So he shapeshifted into the captain, because if the captain was dead, the boat would be stopped. And it wouldn't end up in Budapest, where he needed the group to go to. Because he still did jobs for Loki, even though he was now forced to work for Cert, because Cert had him tattooed and had a fire giant following him around, making sure he behaved.
Were you going to Buda or Pest?
We were visiting both, but the hotel was on the Pest side, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's that grand Victorian hotel that's still there. We used a real world place.
Nice.
We actually used a real world Viking cruise too.
Yeah, the itinerary, the whole thing.
That's
we
cool.
just sculpted the interactions based stuff. Like, so we'd go to these ruins and we would run into different mythological creatures and stuff.
Sandy broke up with her 2 boyfriends. So
that was just great.
One of them stole a relic from one of the churches that's actually on the itinerary to visit and hid it in her room. So they had this whole, Inspector Gusteau moment where the thing is found and
Clouseau. Yeah. And I had to try and basically, I used my psychopomp to basically hide the chalice so that she wouldn't get caught. And of course, Lucius catches me. So now he's got
some dirt on
me, that could totally stop the thing. And all of this is taking place on Carrie's honeymoon. Which we
were
just
tickets
crashed.
From Loki at the wedding.
You never
but
trust
nobody
tickets
knew.
from Loki.
Well, they weren't marked. She had no idea.
It was just random wedding gifts because Carrie rolled with Thorson's wedding. See, he was going to be my next one because Carrie freaked out so badly when I shot the imposter.
Well, that was on the
15 minutes of her screaming. I edited it down to a very quiet 15 seconds.
To be fair, she did. Well, she had this rule. It's like okay, fine. As long as under no condition does anything happen to my husband or my kids. And so, to her mind, he broke the rule, and she's like, no, because of course she.
And the girls don't say they're lawful.
I mean, I'm just going to throw out...
It's called transference. You fucked with her.
I do have to throw out that I never expect my GM to hold any character sacred. Although I do prefer if they don't go around murdering children or kicking puppies.
Because that kind of ruins the points, because at that point your players will be so burned out, they will not befriend anyone. They will shoot every tavern owner. They will shoot any Ponzo order, because they won't respect them as characters because they know they're being used against them constantly.
Yeah. So.
And you got to use it at the right moment.
Yeah.
But between Lucius, this NPC, and Loki, another NPC, even though it was her father, she's broken now.
Because Lucius, I play Lucius as he's forced to do bad things because he's a bad cop from New York. So think about a scion of Loki who's a bad cop from New York.
And his name's Lucius.
Yeah.
He's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Cert's literally got his hand in his pocket, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought him up as an interesting, fun character.
But it has progressed so much more from his original intention. And completely unintentionally, it has utterly changed the direction of my character.
Yeah.
Between Lucius, Loki, and
the
dwarf, it's,
she's broken.
She's broken.
She'll get fixed eventually. Or she's got a great female empowerment story that she doesn't need a man to be fulfilled.
She didn't need a man before to be fulfilled, but it was the act of betrayal. But because of all of this, basically she's interpreting that Ragnarok is her fault, because every task that she was set upon in an effort to stop Ragnarok has failed. And basically she herself is blaming, she's
blaming herself.
Exactly. But and she is pissed the fuck off, because to her mind, the betrayal of her father, as she sees it, whereas he doesn't see it that way.
Well,
the betrayal of the dwarf and the betrayal of a sibling I mean, she already had trust issues beforehand. She is...
And that's why he's a great NPC.
Yeah.
I recommend therapy.
Yeah, no.
Scion therapy.
This character, when I originally
she just
wrote
needs
her...
to talk to Odin, because Odin's just going to say, preach, girl, preach. Everything I do brings it closer.
This character originally did not drink. She did not, because it dulls the senses, and she always got, because, she's a thief,
And Kellie wanted her to be different than her last time, who drank all the time.
Which is, so I wanted her to be exact opposite, sort of. Now, this character drinks. Because she is, she's in a bad place right now.
She definitely needs Scion therapy.
Oh, yeah, and then now she just met her half-sister, Hal, and that kind of messed her up a little, too.
That'll fuck with you, too.
You just need to find a Scion of Thoth who's a psychologist.
I suddenly see how I'm going to work my way into this game.
Ooh. We do need to revise Ragnarok and Roll.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So we have digressed, but NPC was a great question, but I'm going to throw a bonus question out there.
Woohoo! I love bonus questions.
So
extra credit! Yay!
Yep, so I'm going to use one of the alternate questions they give you in case you don't have a good answer for the regular ones. They have alts, which is great.
Alts are awesome.
So
I have lots of alts on World of Warcraft.
We're going to go with, what is your favorite character hook? That's a hard question, so I throw that one out there.
What's your favorite character hook, Jim?
My favorite character hook would have to be whichever one you guys bite on.
I have one.
Oh, go for it.
Gibbity gob.
Oh my god!
I'm a pretty princess. Tilda, when she got asked the elf mage, tell me how you say yes, master in Goblin. And the fact that she believed him when he said gibbity gob, when it really meant I'm a pretty princess. So now it's this running hook with her.
Yeah.
I just get a kick out of it. Oh my god.
Yeah. I love that one.
It's a hoot.
It's a great running in joke, too.
That's mine.
See, I would have to go with the character hook as the idea of the mysterious parentage of you don't know who your parent is as your hook, so that way it makes a story of the I'm going out to find my parentage along those lines.
Interesting enough, I have never used that.
Mm-hmm. But think about it, it's like the Skywalker hook. That is the Skywalker hook of I don't know my father, but this wise old wizard who's taking me on an adventure knows my father.
Yeah.
And with one word and one toy, he's hooked for life to listen to the old man.
Yeah, and I'm not a big
for the
fan
old man's
of Luke.
life.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I've never used it.
I mean, it's a really good classic.
What about for Rey? It's the same character hook
Rey.
Rey used. That's what got her in the adventure, was because she's like, who am I? What's my story? Rather than realizing she's been living her story.
Right.
Who knew? She's that powerful of a Jedi. She can look at Kylo Ren, who's been trained by Master Skywalker himself, and say, get out of my head.
All Jedis have their specialty.
Kylo definitely needed a tutor. He was clearly not listening to his uncle Luke very closely.
He was listening to the scary old man who had stories of his grandfather.
Yeah.
The same hook. The same hook.
Got turned around.
It's your dark grandfather.
Yeah, but
Literally.
each Jedis have their own specialties. No Jedi is the same. She just had better,
He has the amazing ability to freeze a blaster bolt mid-air for like 5 minutes without even thinking about it.
Do that.
That's true. So, I think the character hook I come back on the most is like a personal tragedy that drives the person. Like a great loss, watching a friend die, watching family members die, not necessarily leading to a desire for vengeance,
but then never again.
But like one of my favorite characters I ever played, and she's such a favorite character. I wrote 80 pages of background on her.
That's awesome.
That's fanfic at that point.
I mean, it was a little bit like that.
That's a novella.
There were a lot of jokes in that gaming group about like the length of my backstory for her. She's really well developed. It was in chapters. She'd been alive for several centuries. There was a lot to cover. Anyway, she had been sold into slavery as a young person, and an alchemist had replaced her heart with a stone
Ooh.
that, like, kept her alive forever, but it forced her to murder on a daily basis.
Ooh.
And so it had been against her
In case you
will.
can get blood from a stone.
So she's very, like, not entirely evil, but a little bit amoral. And she was really driven by this tragedy that had been a thing out of her control, that she was constantly, like, in a state of a reaction. So that's, like, a hook I pull on a lot.
Which
Not
is a
all
good
That's
one.
a character that's a similar type of background, but I have yet to play her.
I would love to play this character again. She was a pretty righteous character.
You know, and I love the characters that you can just write, like my original Scion character.
Val.
I have a ton of stories for her.
Yeah.
Now they're anywhere from 2 to 4 pages, so some of them are even longer.
We gotta dust those off and put them on the side or something.
I know, I have to.
Just for giggles.
One of them, I totally can get you those.
Because that was before we recorded games.
Yeah.
Back in the old days.
Back in the old days, before we didn't record every game we played.
Right?
And she literally took on a life of her own.
Yeah, well, this character definitely, over 80 pages, I was like, I think I've written a treatment for a book.
Mm-hmm.
So.
At least one hell of an outline for 2 or 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. She's a great character, though.
Yeah, and I always like to give, like, when Jim has to do character backgrounds and stuff, and for Scion especially and stuff, it helps. But I like to put in people and connections that he can use.
Oh, yeah.
And GMs love that.
I always like to pepper my backgrounds with a lot of NPCs that can be used both as boons and as, problems for the character.
As hooks. So basically,
Exactly.
hey, you get a phone call from so-and-so. Your old buddy who always gets in trouble.
Yeah.
Which then, by the way, GMs out there, goes back to the don't burn your NPCs, because your players will then be afraid to have those NPCs as loose threads.
Yeah, well, or you want your NPCs, if you're going to destroy one, it should be for high stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Really valuable.
They're in trouble and they want to meet you at a diner and you show up and they get gunned down in the parking lot. That's a good way to burn one, because now you have the vengeance. The story hook has been dropped. The gauntlet is tossed, and you now know they need to get into action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, well, like Val, my first character, her ex. I mean, her, King is her maiden, is her married name, not her maiden name. She kept it.
Val King.
But the way I wrote it is like, her ex, Odie King,
Leader
has, like,
of
this,
the Ravens. Biker gang.
Biker gang, I literally, I'm like,
she packaged
subtly hinted that he might too be a Scion.
Subtle.
But then then that was just in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I actually then wound up writing another story just because it occurred to me because she takes this job with, turns out she doesn't know it, but the guy that she's working for is actually working for the Titans. But he sends her out to find Scions, and one of them is in her home, like, wait a minute, that's in my home turf, turns out, and she's reading this news article about this guy who gets struck by lightning and survives, and wait a minute, and sure enough, it's her ex. So she goes to talk to him.
And he's now been tapped.
But he's being courted by Titan Spawn, and he doesn't know it, and then there's like this big chick fight, and because she's horrible. She's Titan Spawn. She's actually the sign of the goddess of filth from the
Aztec
pantheon. So and then they have like this whole row and stuff, and and he still hasn't been tapped, but I'm like, hey, I know your half sister, But I left it open for him so if he ever wanted to call up this guy as a possibility, and there's this antagonism between her and him.
Between Val and
exactly.
her ex.
And he can take it either way. He can take it Titan Spawn, or he can take it as Odin.
Right.
It's
nice to give your GM lots of
gifts.
Odin.
Those are beautiful gifts.
We gotta reward you for your kindness.
Yeah, we don't have to let you do all the work.
GMs appreciate pot roast bottles of alcohol, and really cool backstory characters that they can use for good and for bad.
Well, I have definitely provided some of those things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good
and a
place.
shepherd pie to die
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my god, maybe I should start giving my recipes to post on the podcast.
for.
Or at least you should do a live stream of you making the shepherd's pie.
Oh my gosh.
It takes too long.
I know.
really
There'd be
messy.
many breaks.
And also, like, it's really hot, so it only happens in November, December.
Yeah, exactly.
When we're not in the 80s and 90s and hundreds and
Yes.
110s. So that's a pretty good place to wrap it up there.
Woohoo!
And we will see you tomorrow. And let me pull up tomorrow's list. So the next one is... Oh, see, that's kind of weird because he's double up. What is your favorite reoccurring NPC?
Well, we already...
I know, we kind of covered that. So
Kinda.
we'll still one of the alt questions for that one then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because, those two questions back to back pretty much...
Very similar.
Because
Yeah.
most of my favorite ones are always going to be a recurring one.
Yeah.
Henceforth the favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Unless you want me to say, Splog!
Oh.
Unturd! Unturd! The little
Oh,
fairy
Toot.
turd!
Well, no, he's not, and Toot is not.
I know.
But my
Toot is not eeny, meeny,
Eeny, meeny, miny, and...
You're little fairies that you're afraid from the box with the Rheingold ring.
Hi, this is Kellie, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.
A good recurring one would be Moria.
Oh, he was a great...
Yeah, it's the funnest, coolest imp around.
He
Yeah.
was pretty righteous.
As
like him.
reoccurring NPCs go.
But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yes!
All right, guys. Thank you for listening.
Cheers!
Remember,
Bye.
share hashtag RPGaDay2018.
Yeah.